Hello everyone, Kayla here. The people over at Careco sent me over their Tangle Buster and their Tangle Buster Mini. So in today's video, I'm going to first give you a detailed comparison between the Mini and one of my other comb style brushes, since I do have a very popular video on this channel comparing three comb style brushes. And then after that, I'm going to do a demo in which I feature both of these brushes. I tell you what I like about it, and I also tell you the difference between using these two brushes. So if you are interested, please stay tuned. So first, I have here the Tangle Buster, and then I also was sent over the Tangle Buster Mini. Already off the bat, you can already see there are some very noticeable differences between these two brushes. So the first thing, the actual length of the handle is much different. So the Mini is much shorter than the original. Now, it's not like short where it would feel weird in your hand, because I can put my whole hand in here. It's just that when I put my hand in this one, there's a little bit extra on the top and on the bottom, but it's really not it's not really a big deal. The next thing that you'll notice is that the actual brush head is different. So if I were to put these on top of each other, you can see that the larger brush has two extra combs on it in comparison. As far as the actual curve of the brush goes, it looks exactly the same. It is exactly the same. This brush in my hand does feel a little heavier, but of course it does, because it is overall just a much larger brush. You can even see the difference in height between the two brushes if I can hold them correctly. So this is when they're lined up at the bottom. This brush is much taller than this one. Now, of course, I could not, as far as the comb style brushes, I have a video on my channel where I've compared three comb style brushes that are all pretty much similar to this one. The Tangle Wrangler, the Evolve Flow Through Detangler, which this one is, and then it also has the Felicia Leatherwood brush. And the reason I call them comb style brushes is because they're a brush that's comprised of these combs that move when you detangle your hair, because the belief is that they won't be as gentle to your hair, because the brush has give. It actually moves out if it encounters a snap or something like that. So I am comparing this to the Mini because it just wouldn't be fair to compare the larger brush to this. So as far as height is considered, they're pretty much the same, with this brush being a little bit larger. Of course, the combs are evenly spaced. You guys remember from my other video that the Evolve Flow Through Detangler comes packaged with a zip tie, which I think gives it this little almost triangle like shape to it. It's not triangle, it's I can't think of the word. Look, and I teach this stuff and I can't think of the word that I'm going for. But yeah, it gives it a different shape, whereas the other ones do have more of an even shape. So it's not necessarily unique to this brush to be even. But a big difference here is that the bristles on this are all straight up and down. Put my finger in between so you can see. And they aren't very flexible. They move to a little bit. Someone in the comments of the other videos said that it looked like a doll brush. I thought that was hilarious. I don't think this is a rough brush on the hair, but yeah, it is a little doll brush like. However, when I first got this, I was like, what? Because I was expecting to have the same bristles as these, because I own three of these, you know. But look, they're extremely flexible. And I even feel like this back part is a little bit more flexible as well in comparison. So if you tried one of these type of brushes and it was too hard for you, you could definitely try this, because it is much softer. I will say that because it is much softer, it is going to eventually wear out and you're gonna need to replace it. Because that's what happened with me and my wet brushes, because wet brushes are very flexible like this as well, even though they're not comb style, and eventually you do have to buy another one as it wears out. But let's go ahead and get into the demo in which I'll be using the large brush on my hair. Alright, so for the demo, this is something I usually do in the shower. So what I'm going to have to do is I have a spray bottle because I usually re-wet each section before I get into it, and my hair is already coated in the Obia Naturals Deep Conditioner. They have two products that are very similar, same color, so this is the Deep Conditioner, okay? So one thing that I noticed, I'll chat with you guys while I prep the section for the brush, is that both of these brushes, the big one and the small one, need to be done in smaller sections than I'm used to detangling my hair, which is not a bad thing. It's just different, okay? Not a bad thing, just different. But like I was able to work those other comb style brushes into the larger sections that I usually detangle my hair with, despite people complaining about it in the comments on that video. It was working. I was bragging about how easy it was, but yet they wanted to be talking to me. So I guess people weren't listening to me. I don't know. But anyway, these brushes, because they're flexible and they flex when you hit a tangle, I think that's why they just need to be used in smaller sections, because they are flexible brushes. There is one slight difference that I noticed between the large brush and the small brush, but I'll talk about it like while I'm actually brushing. So I'll probably do a little match co-editing if I finger detangle much longer in the larger section. Okay, finger detangling done. I'm going in with the large brush, okay? And I actually found that I preferred the larger brush. Now, both of them, things you have to do when you want people to be able to see, both of them I can get up my hair pretty easily. If I reach a snag or a tangle, I just go under it, work that hair out, and then go back to that spot. Like, see, it's flexing here, it's hitting something right there. So what I do is I go under it and get it that way. And this brush works just fine that way. Or you could stop and pull your hair apart as well. Now listen, I don't use, this is the difference between the two brushes, I don't use a shower mirror. I used to have one. So I usually can't see myself when I'm detangling. Today is different, I can actually see. So usually when I get here, it gets awkward and I start snagging the other sections when I'm trying to get my roots. So what I have to do with the large brush, I don't know if it's like my hands are awkward or what, like user awkwardness, but I turn the brush this way when I get to my roots to make the brush smaller so that it doesn't snag my other sections as much or at all, so that I can get my roots better. And that's how I have to use the larger brush, but it is preferred because I can get through the section a little easier. But here's the smaller brush, and I find that it too easily works up a section, but on some parts of my hair I find that this brush will work up. I'll get to the roots. I don't have to turn it sideways or anything because it's a smaller brush, there's less brush to handle. But when I get the roots cleared, then sometimes the ends tangle back up and I have to go back in and redo it. Like at one point I thought I was losing my mind, y'all. I was brushing and brushing, clearing it out, and then retangling. I was like, what the heck? So then I went back with the big brush and like with a couple of swipes, problem solved. So I don't know if, and I'm probably not gonna have that problem in this section just because my hair is a different texture in the front. It's a lot looser and a lot easier to brush through and detangle. Like I'm now, the two sections are combined and I'm just, it ain't no thing just because my hair is different in this section. So, but I can go just about all the way up to the roots. You get a little bit of retangling going on here. Oop. And you can turn it this way to graze the roots. So I do get comments like, you don't get your roots and should be brushing the scalp. I'm thinking, girl, this is some thick hair, and trust me, I'm getting close enough to my roots that I don't have tangled hair at the root. Child. But anyway, yeah, so and that was happening in the back with this brush. It was just retangling as I was clearing it out, and it was getting on my nerves, and then eventually I picked up the big brush and fixed it, as I said. So I just find that the big brush never retangles, and turning it vertically to get closer to the roots is really not a big deal. It's not costing me more in time. So I think that of these two brushes, I prefer the larger brush.